Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I just got done with watching WWE Crown Jewel 2021. I gotta say, this is gonna kind of freak you guys out, I have to admit. This was actually one of the best Crown Jewels that WWE has ever done in Saudi Arabia. Now, don't get me wrong, just because I'm saying it was one of the best Crown Jewel events they've ever done in Saudi Arabia does not mean it was a great event. Don't get me wrong on that. It was an okay event. It was decent. But there was some good spots on this show, and there was some really fucking boring shit. And I mean boring. Give you a prime example. The men and women's tournament for the King and Queen. What a load of shit that was. I know I didn't review Raw last night like I said I was going to. I just did not feel like doing it, and God knows I didn't miss much of anything. Found out that Piper Niven, now known as Dewdrop, was the one that moved on to the finals, to ultimately lose to Zelina Vega, who was on a horrible losing streak until this tournament came about. Unfucking believable on that one. The men's side of things, the King of the Ring. What a fucking joke that was. Xavier Woods wins this tournament. A former world champion, Finn Balor, the first ever Universal Champion, can't even win a King of the Ring. He can't go from being called the Prince to the King. Are you serious? That's a fucking great slogan, a gimmick that they could sell very easily, and it would get over well. You could even turn Finn Balor into a heel by doing this. And yet, they never took advantage of the idea. Once again, causing Finn Balor to have a stopgap in his push. Not that I see that he's going to get a push anytime soon. So count that out of your mind. And I got to admit that match was boring as hell. I didn't particularly care for that match all that much. I was barely paying attention. I was paying more attention to the stats on the pick that I made on FanDuel for the Broncos-Browns game. I picked Cortland Sutton as my wide receiver, and unfortunately he only got 5 receptions with 68 yards, only giving me 9.3 fantasy points, leaving me a little kind of feeling down in the dumps about that. But that's just football. This is about wrestling. Let's get into it. What else did I happen to not like on this show? Oh yeah, Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali. A match that meant nothing. Literally nothing. There was no good build behind this. Like I said last week when I reviewed Raw, I said plain and simple, this would mean something if these two were once tag team champions, been tag team partners for about a year and a half or something like that. That would have worked, but unfortunately, that was not the case. They just jumped the gun after a couple of months, or maybe a couple of weeks for all I know. I don't fucking know. I haven't been following Raw on a consistent basis anyway, so I wouldn't have a clue. But with all that being said, Mansoor and Mustafa Ali did not really have much of a build going into this match. They only threw them on the card because they were in Saudi Arabia. So, there you go. That's why the match took place and why this whole storyline came about of them breaking up, even though they were only tag team partners for only a couple of weeks or a month or so. Who gives a fuck? Real shit. Anyway, let's move on from all this wonderful garbage. What was good on this show was this. The opener of this show, the Hell in a Cell match between Edge and Seth Rollins. Yes, despite the fact that there's a lot of watered down stuff in the Hell in a Cell, and a lot of people say that the Hell in a Cell gimmick needs to die and go away, I would have to agree, but what Seth Rollins and Edge did in this match was entertaining. It was well worth the Hell in a Cell match, but at the end of the day, if you really get down to it, the Hell in a Cell match definitely needs to go, because there's not the same brutality it used to be. There's nobody bleeding anymore in the middle of the ring. We don't see any cuts on their head and them bleeding profusely. That is what I imagine a Hell in a Cell match being. If you really want to go to brutality, look at Triple H and Batista back in 2005 at Vengeance. They tore each other apart. They went ahead, they used a fucking steel chair with barbed wire wrapped around it. I mean, they had Batista nail Triple H in the freaking face with a sledgehammer, and he started spitting out, I'm assuming it was fake blood, it had to be, and he was just spitting out profusely blood out of his mouth, making it look like he just broke his larynx or something, and he was bleeding profusely out of his mouth. That was fucking brutality. The things that we saw with Undertaker and Mick Foley, that was fucking brutal, but then again, they can't go to that depths of brutality anymore. That's way too dangerous for anyone's well-being and health. I wouldn't recommend that for anyone. I think what Mick Foley went through was absolutely devastating, and I think the man was out of his fucking mind, not to mention that. But what they did in this match and what they could do in this match, they utilized it well, I think. I think they did the best that they could. Seth Rollins performed very well in this match. I don't know if Edge winning this match was the best choice, especially with him beating him with the curb stomp to Seth Rollins through the chair, which actually was slightly botched, by the way. And I'm not sure if that was the best route to go with, but hey, I mean, it was a good match. I'm not going to complain about the end result, really. I don't think there's really any need for that. I don't think it hurts Seth Rollins in any way. Kind of keeps him away from Big E for a little bit. I think Big E needs a heelish type of opponent for right now. Seth Rollins would be that best choice to go with, but I think we need to wait for a big pay-per-view for that. We're going into Survivor Series, so I think after Survivor Series and we move into the Royal Rumble, we'll probably see Big E face Seth Rollins in a matchup, but Seth Rollins needs to get on a winning streak, and I mean fast. This guy has only had, I think, one major win, that was against Edge at the Smackdown episode in Madison Square Garden, and that's all we've gotten from him at this point. He hasn't exactly been, killing it in the wins and loss column. So he really needs to, every week, be placed on Monday Night Raw, have him beat some opponents, get some wins under his belt, and then move him into the World Championship picture. So my attitude is this: you have him win some matches on Raw, have him earn a spot onto the Raw roster's Survivor Series, traditional Survivor Series matchup between Raw and SmackDown, and you have Seth Rollins be the sole survivor of Raw to beat SmackDown in the 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match. That's what I would do, just to get him over enough to make him a challenger for the WWE Championship against Big E. Finn Balor was my original guy I would have gone with as a challenger for Big E for the WWE Championship, and then passing that on to Finn Balor at the Royal Rumble. But the way things look right now, no, there ain't no fucking way I'd do that. Especially with him losing to Xavier Woods in the King of the Ring finals. That was fucking terrible. Terrible decision. I don't even understand what they're doing. Are they giving Xavier Woods a push? Is this guy going to amount to anything with this fucking King of the Ring win? I highly doubt it. Look at Baron Corbin. He didn't amount to anything either. I just don't get it. He went from being King Corbin to being Happy Corbin. What a fucking joke. Idiotic garbage, man. Whatever. it doesn't really make a big difference, but whatever. But yeah, like I said, Edge defeated Seth Rollins in the opener of the show and in the Hell in a Cell, which was a solid, fun, entertaining match. Next was Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali, which I already went over. Mustafa Ali loses this match to Mansoor. And we also get some guy from the Olympics, a martial artist, Saudi Arabian martial artist, who went ahead and cranked Mustafa Ali in the side of the skull with a karate kick. Very nice kick, though, and put him out like nobody's business. Next after that, I believe it was the Raw Tag Team titles. It was Matt Riddle and Randy Orton, RK Bro, versus AJ Styles and Omos. This match was okay for what it was, and Randy Orton and Matt Riddle win the match with an RKO first after AJ Styles was trying to hit a phenomenal forearm, but unfortunately gets hit with the RKO in midair, and then Matt Riddle's tagged in to do his finishing maneuver from the top rope. And that is how the match ends. Overall, it wasn't that terrible. I'd definitely give it a solid 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't think that match was at all bad. The match with the Hell in a Cell match with Edge and Seth Rollins, I'd say that was a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali match, I'm giving it a 2 on that. Like I said, the Raw Tag Team titles was definitely a solid 3 out of 5 stars. So that's pretty much the rating so far. Let's move on with this card. We had the women's finals between Doudrop and Zelina Vega for the fucking women's, for the Queen of the Ring match. This was a joke. Who gives a shit? It was terrible. 1 out of 5 stars I'm giving it. God awful trash. Don't give a shit. Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. There was some positives to this. I can't believe I'm saying this, but there was some positives and there was some heavy negatives. Mostly negative, but there was a little bit of positive. I'll just go right into the positive about this match. Goldberg really tried to attempt to deliver a real match. Not go in there, hit a spear, jackhammer, and do it multiple times in a match like he's done in the past. We actually got a legit match out of the dude. There was a botch, though, that I saw. Bobby Lashley was leaning on the barricade in the corner by where the timekeeper and all that is, and that area moved. You could literally see it on the right-hand bottom part of your screen as they're like completely zoomed outwards, where you can see the stands and the area where Goldberg was and his running way towards Bobby Lashley. You could see that barricade actually move when Bobby Lashley is leaning up against it. So that was a complete botch. I mean, it wasn't meant to. You shouldn't have been able to see something like that. Which, bottom line, I thought that was trashy looking if you really think about it. Goldberg, on the other hand, I'm going to get into why I dislike Goldberg. And here's why. It's not just the age thing, because I feel different about Edge. Edge delivers us good matches. Edge also is in good shape. He's in good health. He does what he needs to do the right thing towards the other people he's wrestling against. He has good stamina. He can wrestle for a long period of time one-on-one with someone. That match he had with Seth Rollins is given proof of that. And I believe Edge is slightly older. No, he's not. He's slightly younger, but he's only 2 years off of Goldberg. And he has delivered good matches all year long. He's also there consistently. So if you want to give him a championship opportunity, and place him up against a youngster who's holding the title like a Roman Reigns or a Big E or something like that, since they're both champions right now, it would make sense. Right now, if Edge wanted to challenge Big E for the championship, it would make sense. So that's my problem with Goldberg. Goldberg can't show up at every single week or every month for a major pay-per-view and at least provide some appearances, do something there that will entertain the audience and get people intrigued to see him perform at a pay-per-view. He doesn't do that at all. He shows up at the big money matches, he goes ahead, collects his money, and he disappears for several months, almost to a year, practically. So there's your problem there. 2, he cannot fucking get in a ring and give you a legit match. He literally gets gassed very quickly. Bobby Lashley did most of the hard work on Goldberg throughout that entire match. Only within about 3 to 4 minutes did Goldberg really get into offense and start performing. He was taking most of the punishment in this match. Bobby Lashley looked like he was going to win this match with no problem. Then it led to a spear and then a jackhammer. The jackhammer was absolutely terrible. Bobby Lashley helped him with that as well. Again, Goldberg cannot lift people up like he used to anymore. I mean, Goldberg used to be able to lift a guy up over his fucking head with no problem. If you don't believe me, look at a match that he had with Big Show back in fucking 1998 when he was the WCW champion on a Monday Night Nitro episode. I mean, he was fucking amazing back then. And he had a hard time lifting Big Show up. Let me just put it that way. So, and Big Show ain't no small guy, so you know what I mean. But the guy actually could lift guys up and really deliver that jackhammer very well. But Goldberg now, he can't do that. He's not the same guy he used to be. He's not the same strong dude he used to be. He easily can get hurt. His knee was fucked up throughout the entire matchup, by the way. If you didn't notice a big giant brace on his kneecap, you're blind. But yes, he did have a brace on his kneecap. And I have to admit, you could tell there was some problems with it, the way he was walking on it throughout the entire match. I don't think he was selling it. I think he legitimately was going into this match hurt, but he was just trying to get through so he could provide the services that it was given to him that was paid to him to do. So that's what he went ahead and did. The end of the match was actually a pretty fun, entertaining visual that ended the match. We saw Goldberg and Bobby Lashley beating each other up with kendo sticks, eventually leading to Goldberg winning that battle and then spearing him off the stage through a table. Very old school like ending. I thought that was kind of neat way of ending it. And he walks away as the victor of this match. So, I mean, obviously the end result was not, surprising. But the way they ended it was kind of surprising to me. I thought that ending spot was pretty fucking nice. But overall, this did have some negatives. Not some. There was a lot of negatives. Goldberg needs to retire. It really is time for him to retire. And I don't think he's really needed in pro wrestling anymore. He's not exactly the same Goldberg that he once was. And that's the reason why I hate on Goldberg so much. My feelings on this match, I'm going to be considerate enough to give it at least a 3. And it would be higher if there wasn't so many negatives I pointed out here on this match. Because at the end of the day, I love Goldberg. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a fucking phony or a hypocrite. I'm not going to say, oh, I hate Goldberg because everyone else says they hate Goldberg. I enjoy Goldberg, but my problem with Goldberg is that he's too fucking old. Hang it up. You're just doing this for money. You're not doing this for the love of wrestling. And I don't like that shit. You could do other things with your life. You don't have to hog up people's, card space on a pay-per-view and be able to get some airtime. I mean, that's fucking retarded. That's a Hulk Hogan mentality. That's why I stopped liking Hulk Hogan. I loved the gimmick of Hulk Hogan, but I didn't like what he was, who he was really showing himself to be. He was more into himself than worrying about the entire business of pro wrestling at that time. There was a lot of rumors that went around about Hulk Hogan being a self-centered asshole and only cared about getting the big payday and not worrying about building the stars around him, which is kind of what Goldberg's mentality is. And I don't particularly care for that. I love the character Goldberg, but I don't like the person that he is. I'm sure he's a caring individual, but when it comes to the business of pro wrestling, I don't think Goldberg is very considerate to the business. He should care more about the business than himself. There's a lot of other things this guy could do with his name that could make him money than hogging up space in pro wrestling. Unless he's going to go in there and put somebody over and give them a legit match that means something, he shouldn't be in a wrestling ring. Plain and simple. That's the end of my rant about Goldberg. Let's move on with this card. The next match on the card was the King of the Ring match. Xavier Woods versus Finn Balor. Oh my God. I don't know why WWE continues to pass up a golden opportunity with Finn Balor. Yes, I understand Finn Balor was placed in a situation that he could not win with the Universal Championship. Okay, fine. You have him lose the match. You never addressed why the fucking turnbuckle broke off, which is a really smart move on WWE's part, but hey, this is being run by Vince McMahon and his little cocksucker, Bruce Pritchard. So what are you going to do? Bruce Pritchard doesn't say anything, doesn't come up with any ideas, doesn't address it to Vince McMahon. He just goes ahead and says, yes, sir, I don't mind if you do. I don't mind if you tell me to suck your cock. It's all right. Because I'm Bruce Pritchard. I love you. Come on, man. That's why people shit on Bruce Pritchard. But the main focus should be on Vince McMahon. Most of the dislikes should come to Vince McMahon because at the end of the day, the man is the end-all, be-all decision maker on what happens on this show. And honestly, I don't know what the fuck this guy Vince McMahon's been doing lately, but his choice in music is absolutely terrible for the last, I'd have to say, 10 years, almost. This guy used to have underground rock bands be the theme song for pay-per-views. He had fucking really good rock groups doing theme songs for these pay-per-views back in the day. And then all of a sudden, he went into this fucking pop culture music shit. Like the song that was used for the fucking pay-per-view tonight. Blow My Breath Away? Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. And the one song with Cardi B for SummerSlam. She's talking about sucking dick. Yeah, no shit. WWE sucks a lot of dick. Jeez, man. This company is fucking whacked when it comes to the freaking music choice it has for its theme songs besides all the creative ideas that they have. Fuck. Anyway, like I said, they passed up another golden opportunity with Finn Balor. And yeah, I mean, of course they fucked up with the Universal Championship opportunity. Maybe they shouldn't have never put him in that spot to begin with. But they could have made up for that by having him win this tournament. It was a very easy choice. But they went with Xavier Woods instead. Can someone please tell me where that makes any fucking sense? Where does Xavier Woods gonna go with this? Is he gonna win a major title? Is he gonna beat Roman Reigns for the universe? Oh my God! Could you imagine that? Xavier Woods winning the Universal Championship. Holy fuck! I don't even think that guy's going to sniff a championship opportunity, let alone win the fucking title. I mean, that was just a complete waste of a fucking match. 100% waste of everybody's time. A tournament that meant nothing. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin right now, after he saw that, probably went, my goodness, I actually won a freaking tournament that meant something, and these kids are fucking competing over a tournament that means nothing. Thank God I was wrestling in the right time at the right place. Because, holy shit. That was terrible. But yeah, Xavier Woods wins the match. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars because that match was bloody fucking awful. Alright, next on the card was Big E defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre in a solid, good, entertaining World Championship match between these two. Yes, it was predictable, but yes, it was a good match. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This was a fun matchup. I enjoyed what they had to offer in this match, and I think it was fantastic. Definitely a good co-main event. Noteworthy type of match, and Big E walks away retaining his championship. Drew McIntyre did not look like a loser in this match whatsoever. It just so happened that Big E won the match by hitting his second big ending and got the 1, 2, 3. That's it. Plain and simple. Kudos to both of them. They did a great job in that match. Which I figured that match was going to be one of the better matches on the card anyway. Just a very predictable ending, of course, because Drew McIntyre is going to be on Smackdown tomorrow. Anyway, moving on to the Smackdown Women's Championship match. Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bianca Bel-Air. This is a very weird situation, folks. I kind of thought maybe Sasha Banks was going to win this match. We might have seen a trade done between Charlotte and Becky Lynch. Who knows? We may still see that. I hope we don't see a trade of the championship belts. I think that would be absolutely terrible. So I think maybe they should go with trading Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch to their respective brands back over again, instead of having them on one brand and the other on the other brand as opposite champions of the brand they should be on. Instead, they're not. If you even get what the fuck I'm saying, I think I confused myself on what I just said. Anyway, they should trade the other back to the original brand they were on, so that they are holding the respective brand's championship for the women's division. Or they could do this. Instead of doing a trade, they could just have Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair compete one-on-one and unify the fucking division. That way everyone wins, and we don't have to swap championships. They both earn the opportunity to be the sole champion of the women's division. I think that would be a better idea, is unifying the championship belts at this point. So you guys let me know what you think about my idea about the women's championship match in the comments down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. But bottom line, I think what happened here was whatever. I mean, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was a solid match, but it was not exactly one of the better women's matches I've seen this year. I mean, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks on SmackDown was better than this shit. And that's no lie. I think that Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks performed way better than this triple threat match turned out to be. It was fucking trash. Well, it wasn't fucking trash, but it was not exactly the kind of experience I was looking forward to. I was picturing a little bit of a better matchup between these three women. Unfortunately, we didn't get that kind of delivery here in this matchup. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 stars. And then the main event, the WWE Universal Championship with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. This was actually a typical Roman Reigns-Brock Lesnar match with a little bit of a twist. I mean, we saw a little bit more Roman Reigns having offense and being on the defense. Brock Lesnar destroying Roman Reigns. We got to see them both having an advantage over the other throughout this entire match. So it was pretty even. The thing that made this match a little bit even, just slightly better than what it was the ending. The ending was bizarre. And it was bizarre in the sense of giving you a hook to make you want to tune in for Smackdown tomorrow night. And here's why. Brock Lesnar's going for a second F5. He hits it, but unfortunately the referee's in the way. It looked absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, as a viewer, you knew there was some kind of plot. They were trying to present to the viewer that there was something going to happen, which it did. The referee was out. Brock Lesnar got speared after he realized the referee was knocked out. He was pissed off, and he turned around, and Roman Reigns hit him with a desperate spear, and they were both laying out. Paul Heyman was in complete, utter confusion on what to do. Brock Lesnar looked like he was trying to ask for the championship from Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was like, he can't do, he was like, kind of like torn. He really wanted to represent Roman Reigns, but at the same time, he still showed that he cared and he was friending Brock Lesnar and that he would try to help him in any which way he could to help him win the championship or win a match like back in the old days. And Paul Heyman was just like, fuck it, I can't take this anymore. And he just threw the Universal Championship between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So it left you questioning, was Paul Heyman's intentions deliberate to screw Brock Lesnar or to screw Roman Reigns, or he just couldn't decide and he wants to really represent both of them? Now that could be possible. He could represent both of them. He could represent Brock Lesnar on Raw, and he could represent Roman Reigns on SmackDown. I mean, Paul Heyman ain't no allegiance to any specific brand anyway. Neither is Brock Lesnar at this point, now that he is a free agent. But at the same time, he almost cost Roman Reigns the opportunity to retain his title. So that leaves some questions. What's going on? What is happening? Is Paul Heyman slowly but surely going to screw over Roman Reigns? Are we going to see that brand new superstar get the world championship because of Paul Heyman's betrayal to Roman Reigns? That could happen. I don't know yet. That is the one thing that left me going, this was a good match. Not because of the ending, not because Brock Lesnar got kicked in the face by the Usos, and then Roman Reigns hit him with the championship and got the 1, 2, 3. But the emotional tear that Paul Heyman was going through between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, trying to choose which one to actually stick with, was the entertaining part about this entire match. Paul Heyman was the reason why this match was good. And then him walking up the ramp, and you see his emotional face, the emotional features he had on his face, and him just feeling like he just betrayed his own friend, even though he still represents Roman Reigns at the same time. You could see on his face he was worried that Brock Lesnar was going to be mad at him for not giving him that championship, and Brock Lesnar's kind of feeling like he was betrayed. So at this point in time, folks, we are left with a cliffhanger. Holy shit, WWE still can do those things? Unbelievable. Oh wait, I forgot. Paul Heyman has something to do with these storylines that Roman Reigns is in. So probably it would have been a better idea to keep Paul Heyman as the executive director of creative than Bruce Pritchard. Thank you, Vince, for making that wonderful business decision to put an ass clown who's a yes man like Bruce Pritchard in the office instead of choosing one that has a creative mind like Paul Heyman. Anyway, guys, at this time, oh yeah, I forgot to mention the star rating on this one was a 4 out of 5 stars, simply because of Paul Heyman's creative story that was being told in this match. Plain and simple. But anyway, guys, at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.